Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jacob. Happy birthday to you. Happy 18th birthday! Yay! I'm finally legally able to contact you, or at least leave you a message here online so that you can watch it when you want to. Happy birthday. By the way, happy graduation too. I've got these beautiful cupcakes for you. I say way to go, grad, and congrats, grad, and great job, grad. So these beautiful, woo, hello, these beautiful puppies are for you. I wish you were here so you could have one. Oh, anyway, they're chocolate with chocolate. Anyway, I hope you can forgive me. This video is going to have a lot of starts and stops in the middle of it because my battery dies or sometimes the phone rings. Well, anyway, so congratulations again on graduating. I'm very, very proud of you, and I put together some notes of some things I wanted to tell you for your 18th birthday now that we can legally contact each other. If I will leave that up to you, of course, because your older brothers kind of scared me off a little bit, so I'll leave it up to you if you'd like to contact me. I'll leave that in your hands. Plus it's, I could have left you a lot of other messages for your brothers and you and stuff like that over the years, but I'm not that computer savvy, and I've learned how to do a lot of the videos now, and so finally I'm legally able to contact you, or at least leave a message publicly for you without getting in trouble. So yay! Happy 18th birthday. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I want you to know that I know you don't know me very well, but I know you very well, and I know it's been many years since you've seen me or heard from me, or so please forgive me for anything or problems that you may still have about me. There are a lot of things you don't know about me, and stories maybe that you've been told that are not true. So I've counted every day that you've left my arms, and anyway, I'm going to stop the video right now and then pick up in a different area because my camera battery is going to die. So just know, happy birthday, I love you, and I'll finish the rest of the story in a second. Alright, sorry, I'm going to have to stop and start the video every once in a while. When the phone rings or something like that happens, I have to start and stop it again. So I hope you don't mind. Where was I? Oh, so I'm making this video a few days before your birthday so I can post it to your birthday when you turn 18, because legally I can't contact you until you're 18. I really thought that your dad would allow us to see each other before a year, or at least by the year that was up that he had you guys living with him, but obviously that didn't happen, and I'm so sorry that you've grown up without a mother. But at least you had a stepmom, and you know, if there was another way I could have done something different so that you could have had me in your life, you name it, I tried it, but it didn't matter what I did, it just didn't happen. So I hope you can forgive me. And anyway, I wrote some notes down so that I don't forget some of the things I wanted to tell you, so I don't take up too much time. I know you don't know me very well. Obviously I know you, even though it's been 8 years and 8 months since you walked out my door. I feel like I'm a lot of the same person. Obviously when you get older, time goes by really fast, but when you're slower, younger, it goes slower, so you probably have forgotten a lot about me. It's been exactly 3,243 days since you left my arms, and I have cried many days longing for your return, and now you're an adult, and so now it's really up to you, because I tried through the courts 3 times, and all 3 times your dad fought me and outright lied and made the judge believe a bunch of lies so that I couldn't even have phone calls with you. Do you remember the day that we parted? I do, because it was like yesterday. I wanted to tell you a few important things about that day. First of all, I want you to know I did not abandon you. I've heard through the grapevine that Baron Holler tells you and others that I abandoned you, when that was not true at all. I loved you and wanted you from the depths of my heart. And when I was engaged to Brother Acosta, he and I were going to get married, and your dad threatened to take custody of you. So having faith that he was not going to do that to us, I figured he had abandoned you for a couple of years, and so the best thing to do is to let him have his responsibility and to not allow him to hurt Brother Acosta and me any longer, and let you guys go live with him just for a few months or a year at the very most, and then he would know what it feels like to be a parent, and that he would share, and that he would co-parent or cooperate and be a good parent and get along as friends. That's all I ever really wanted. And obviously now, 8 years, 8 months later, we see that he has alienated you and your brothers from me for that many years. And no matter what I've tried, it's just not meant to be. But I want you to know that that day that we said our goodbyes, around 12 in the afternoon, your dad said he was not going to come pick you guys up. And so I had Sister Bowman, the Relief Society president, come and watch you guys at the swimming pool for a few hours while Baron was driving out from Los Angeles to come pick you guys up. So I did not abandon you. And that day when you were in my blue Caravan, my Dodge blue Caravan, you came and sat on my lap in the front seat on my driver's side, and you said goodbye, and you said I love you, and you said, Mom, we love you more than you love us. And that hurt me very deeply. But God told me to put a smile on my face and tell you, I love you, Jacob, and we'll see you soon. Because that's what I really believed. And I said, I love you, and I said goodbye, and then you went off to go swimming there at the neighborhood swimming pool. And then Sister Bowman took care of you for a couple hours until Baron came and picked you up. So I did not abandon you, and I love you very much, and I've missed you every single day that you've been gone. And I've written you a lot of letters and a lot of cards, and every birthday and every event and every holiday I've thought of you, and I've missed you, and I've prayed for you, and I've mothered from afar. And I know you don't understand that, and maybe you'll never understand the depths of my love for you, because you'll never be a mother with a child in your womb. But just know that my love for you is very deep, and deeper than what you'll ever know in this life, and that I would give my life up for you. But I believe that God would align our lives eventually, and so maybe it will. I'm going to read a little bit from my notes so that I don't miss anything. Oh, Jacob, how wrong you were in your statement that day. I did and always will love you and your brothers more than you'll ever know. You see, love is built, or builds, or grows within a mother or a person when that person serves another human being. For example, it's proven that those men who go out on missions or Peace Corps missions or LDS missions, Mormon missions, to serve, they grow an extraordinary amount of love in their hearts for the people and the culture that they are serving, because the pure act of serving builds love within a person's heart. So too with this great love, it builds and grows within a mother's heart when she carries a human being, you, in her womb for 9 months, and then she cares for his every need, every minute of every day for many, many years, especially when I had such a deep desire to have you come into this world. And then when you were here, I just cherished every moment, even when you cried and pooped and were upset and were sick. I loved every minute of it. The amount of immense love is indescribable. There are no words that can justify the expressions or depths to this love that this human has created, this mother has created me in my heart for that other person, which is you and your brothers. So although I had no doubt that you loved me very much at that time, at your tender young age of 9 years old, when you sat on my lap there when we said our goodbyes in Mentone, California, what you did not know was the extent of my deep love that I had for you, and I still do. At that time, your dad, Baron, was very jealous and angry and bitter to the point that his only desire was to destroy me. And there was no doubt about it, and others knew it, and I knew it. That's because the world that he had been building around him was falling apart, and he saw me as his only blame for all of it. And he did not realize that God was changing both of our worlds and our marriage, and that he was a big part of it, and that he had a lot of that responsibility also. But he didn't want others to recognize that he had a big hand and a responsibility in the marriage breakup. You understand? It's not just my opinion. There were many others around him and I that witnessed this, and they told me this in their face, and that he was how he was acting. And so please don't think that I'm just saying this because I'm bitter. I'm just letting you know that we both hold our responsibilities in moving on in our lives. And for me, it was never to not be friends with your dad, Baron Holler. It was to cooperate and co-parent and get along. Without blaming who did what, let's just say that at that time I was trying my best to survive with 5 very little active boys who I loved beyond life itself, and I came to a crossroads where the choices of others, along with God's choice to bring me back to Heavenly Father, because I hadn't been praying, and I'd been barely starting to go back to the Mormon church, if you remember right. This is the position that God had put me in, to either live a life that Baron Holler was creating for me due to his controlling my every move and turning me into a very worldly woman, which was leading me to a life to die early, or and also where I would never see you and your brothers ever again. If I was dead, I would have never seen you again. Or I could let go and do the one thing that others around me did not expect me to do, and that was to let go and let God handle everything. So I had to trust in God that he would save me so that I would not die young, and so that in the future you and I could actually have a relationship. A future where if my flesh and blood, you, Jacob, would someday in the future want to see me or have contact with me and pick up a relationship again as God had intended, I could, you could, and I would still be here on this earth, and I would be alive. That's what the crossroad was that I was at, Jacob. That's what I had. And there's many things I can't tell you today, and I haven't been able to tell your brothers in the past because I've had to protect you, your brothers, and especially Alexander. And so there's a lot of things I cannot even tell you today because it would put you guys in jeopardy. So just know that I'm telling you the truth, that this is what I was in, the predicament I was in, that I was sure to die within a few months to a year. And this was the way I was going to be able to survive and live so that you and I could have a future. Believe me, it was not a choice that I made to abandon you, leave you, or stop being a fabulous mother, or stop seeing you whatsoever. In fact, it was clear to me and everyone that I spoke to at the time that your dad, Baron, was going to finally take responsibility for a few short months, and at the most up to a year, and then at that time he would give you guys back to me, or we would co-parent and be friendly and get along. This was supposed to give me enough time to get back on my feet, stop your dad's plot of controlling my life and destroying me, and either forcing me to do what he demanded, which I told you was leading me to a sure death, or to let go of the one thing that he was using to manipulate me, and that was you and your brothers. And then I believed that God would align our lives, and I had to have faith. I really had no choice, so I let go and I let God in. Now that doesn't mean that others and their bitterness and jealousy would not make the outcome of our relation change or stop, or so that other people have always hoped for. Your dad, who is my ex-husband, demanded that you and I have no contact over these last 8 years and 8 months. There's no doubt in my mind that he was doing this out of spite, because I thought I knew him all the years that I had lived with him. I had known him for 17 years up to that point. But by then, or maybe even 19 years, because it was a couple years after we got divorced. But I had known him for a long time, so I thought I knew him well. I feared he was just angry and that he would be over his angriness. I really did. And I really thought he would come to his senses and finally co-parent and cooperate as 2 decent parents 1 year afterwards. Boy, was I wrong, huh? And then he filed his demand of his to have no contact with you, and he forced me to sign that, so I did. And then with the divorce courts, he filed this paperwork, knowing that I could not risk contacting you during all the years that he would decide that he does not want you and I to have contact, even though I tried in the courts many times. I had no idea that Baron Holler would be bitter and that he would want to win, and that with him it was all about winning. Oh, hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let me make sure that it's recording. Yep, it is. I'm going to just read my notes so that I can go a little bit faster. Otherwise, this video is going to take a long time. And I want to kind of try to keep it cheery and happy because it is your birthday and I'm excited for you, and this is a wonderful milestone for you to be 18 because it means you're legal and you can do a lot of things on your own. So I'm really excited for you. And so this is a happy time. So I'm going to try to read. So forgive me if I look like I'm reading this, but I actually wrote this myself and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Okay, Jacob? Or do you go by Christian? Christian Jacob? Let's see. I trusted your dad to do the right thing, and more importantly than this, your dad, Baron, was so violent towards me that I had to wait patiently until the law was on my side to protect me as the good and righteous mother that I had always been, but who your dad had blackened my name to everyone, and he knew that it would take years for others who didn't know me to get to know me, because, you know, he had blackened my name with everybody here in Rancho Santa Margarita and there in Mentone, and he knew it would take years. And that would mean I would have to wait and wait and wait, and at the very most wait till you were 18 years old to be able to contact you or even just reach out to you without expecting you to do the same thing. Goodness, look at what Jordan did to me for simply extending a loving mother's hands towards him. He nearly bit it off. So that's what I mean by I would love to contact you, but now I'm just, you know, really terrified because I reached out for Austin and I had a pretty good experience, but now he just won't have any contact with me. And then I just tried, barely tried to have contact with Jordan, and that turned out to be a nightmare. And he's got a restraining order on me, which is completely uncalled for because I'm a loving mother who wants nothing but the best for him. Worse, Jordan has hurt me in a way that's nearly unforgivable in trying to destroy my life. But someday, if ever, he'll see that I really was the victim in this relationship and in this parental alienation syndrome. I was the victim with his dad doing what he was doing and, getting Jordan to do the fake restraining order on me when I was nowhere near Jordan, and how deceitful that was and how just low and trashy that is to do to your own mother. And, it was only adding more hatred to my already victimized life that Baron Holler had and continues his best to create for not only me, but for you, my children, and the one people and the one relationships that I know, that he knows that I love with all my heart and could hurt me. Believe me, when you and your brothers cried over the years, I have cried too. I have felt your pain. Spiritually, we are connected, so when you cry, I feel it, and I cry. There are days when there were days when I was shopping or in restaurants, and I would just have a meltdown, and I would break down and just literally cry my eyes out because I could feel you crying. And there was nothing I could do about it. Especially for the year that I didn't even know where you guys were, that you had moved to Colorado. I had no clue. And then for many years I searched for you and your older brothers, and I still couldn't find out where you guys were. And when Grammy and Gramps tried to call you guys, your dad Baron would threaten them. So there's nothing that we could do about it. Okay, except for just pray that Baron's heart would soften. Okay? Believe me, I would feel almost every pain that you went through. So I have suffered for you and with you. But God continues to tell me that I have done the right thing in my life, in changing my life around into being from a worldly person when I lived with your dad, into a whole nother life of going back to who I was when I was growing up, being a good and righteous and moral and decent and, you know, wonderful woman. I'm praying today is the day that the law and those who hate me cannot attack me for leaving a message finally here on public online for you and your brothers to watch. But they're betting on you, and they've brainwashed you for many years, that over the 8 years and 8 months that you had finally come to a point where you want nothing to do with me, and that your heart would be bitter and hardened like Austin's and Jordan's. I'm praying that you are different, Jacob. I'm praying that they're wrong and that your love for me is stronger than what they know. As strong as what you told me the day that you left. And that we were ripped from each other's arms when you told me, we love you more than you love us, Mom. I'm betting that that love is still there. Do you remember that day? I remember it like it was yesterday. I know it seems like a century ago because your brain and your body have grown tremendously over the 8.8 years, and you are like a whole nother person, and I'm still the same mother as the one that left when you and I were ripped apart from each other. But now I'm a better mother and a safer mother. I don't know what to say this day other than to express my deep, deep love and my joy at being able to leave this video, and then pray someday that you will search me out and watch it, and hopefully be relieved of a lot of questions and curiosity that you may or may not have about me. I don't know if you remember, but in 2011 I did get to see you at the courthouse in 2011 in March here in California when you came down with Barron and Terry and Oma, and it was a miracle of God that you and I showed up at that courtyard at the exact same time. And when I first saw your face and Andrew's face, I did not recognize you for an instant, but then I did, and then I was so terrified that the only thing I could do was just stand there and shake and then mouth. And you looked at me like this. You looked at me really funny, like, who is this lady? It was so weird. And then I just went, which meant, I love you, I love you. And then I would lean down to Alexander because he recognized you, and then he went to hug you. And then your dad ripped Alexander away from you, and then I had to protect Barron, and I had to warn him that he had a restraining order and that what he had done he had just violated, and that he could go off to jail, and I didn't want that for Barron, and I wanted to get along and mediate stuff. And anyway, there's a long story to that, and I will tell you that someday when you come to me and ask me, and I'll fill you in on that story. But just know that that day that I saw you, I wanted so much to hug you and tell you I love you, and I couldn't. I had to protect you and Barron and Alexander, and so I hope you were not hurt that day thinking that I didn't love you. As you may know, back in October, just about 7 or 8 months ago, I was encouraged by a lot of people here in California and in Louisville, Colorado, to ask for custody of you and Andrew, because you had been alienated from me for so many years that many people felt that that was such a dishonest thing to do to a wonderful mother, that it was important for me to have contact with you and maybe even custody, you know, because they knew we have a wonderful home and that you and Andrew would have had a great life here. So I was encouraged, and I got a lot of affidavits and a lot of letters of recommendation from world leaders and very important community people and lawyers, and just a lot of loving people wanted to see you and Andrew come live with us. And we always have a room open for you, just so you know. Let's see. So I took this advice and I kindly asked for my rights there in Colorado. Again, your dad was in court and I heard him on the phone lie to the judge and tell him that I lived with a pedophile, which is not true. Rudy, Brother Acosta, is not a pedophile. He had a bad situation almost 20 years ago when an ex-wife made a false accusation against him, and that's all it was. And he served his time, and all he did was take a deal. When he was offered a deal, even though he knew and told everybody he was innocent, that was his way to get out of jail, and so he did that, and he's had to suffer ever since. And if you got to know him like everybody knows him, they love him. Even world leaders and very popular, important community leaders love him and know him as an honest, good, righteous, moral, wonderful man and father and friend and person and husband, and he's just a lot of fun, and he makes us laugh all the time, and he's just a hoot. But he's very strict and demands respect and is very firm and demands righteousness and goodness from people. So he's sometimes difficult to live with, but he is overall a genuinely very loving, honest, and good, godly man. And I hope that you guys can become better friends and take up where you left off from 2004. I'm not saying that Baron's way was the wrong way. It's just that it would have been nice if the right things would have happened, which brings the most happiness for all parties. And I really wish that you and Andrew had at least had the ability to make phone calls to me and us write each other. That would have been really nice, versus your dad always being in the mode of just he has to win, and that's all there is to it. I did read a book recently called, it's about sociopaths and their characteristic, and your dad fit a lot of the characteristics of that, and it goes on to talk about not having love in their hearts and bitterness and how they don't realize that that's happening to them. And so I'm praying really hard that your dad's heart is being softened and that he will find love somehow, some way in his heart again someday. I learned a lot since I have been out of your dad's controlling and demanding home. I've learned how much he did not love me, and how much his need to control has stopped him from finding true love himself. He knows what I'm talking about, since I did see the sparkle of love in his eyes once, and that was when I was pregnant with you, Jacob. And he was speaking of Lori Pinckney, the woman he was having an affair with during the time that I was pregnant with you, which is okay. Our friend Lori had just gotten a divorce, and he really fell in love with her, and at that time, I knew at that moment that his deep love was never really, had ever been there for me, because I had never seen that in his eyes. But I did make a good mother and a good wife for him to show to the world. And at that time, I finally began to open my eyes to see that your dad was living a double secret life and that our marriage was over. But it was my insecurity and his control over us and the 2 boys I already had and being pregnant that kept us together longer. And we couldn't, being naive, we just couldn't let go and move on to our separate lives. But we did end up having 2 more boys until it just blew up in our faces, because we didn't have the courage to do what was right in 1995, when it was obvious that he was in love with somebody else. When I asked God about my marriage to Baron Holler in 1995 when I was preggers with you, and my concern was that my baby was coming home with a father who was not that excited about having another child, and about being deeply loyal to this child or the marriage, God told me in my heart and mind that all would be fine, and that he would make sure that in the future there would be a righteous man in my life for you, Jacob. And now that I'm where I am, and hindsight is 20/20, I know without a shadow of doubt that Brother Acosta Rudy is a very righteous man, and you would love to have a wonderful relationship with him if you ever desire. The door is always open, but just come to us with respect, please. It scared me at that time, being extremely insecure. By the next day, when we were in Hawaii, and I was on the beach looking at the beautiful sky and talking to God and seeing the millions of stars and crying my eyes out because I'd just been told that Baron was having a secret affair with Lori Pinckney, that God told me, oh, excuse me, God told me that this was a joyous occasion and that I should let go of Baron and let him be with Lori and move on in my life, and that God would put me with my soulmate if I let go. And I couldn't believe how much joy I had in my heart, but by the next day I was so insecure, and I was pregnant, and that I told Baron, no, I don't want to live plural marriage. I don't want you to be married to me and Lori. You have to decide. You have to choose. And I've got a bunch of kids, and I can't be on my own. And so he ended his love affair with Lori, and we stayed together. But by then, we ended up, getting to a lot of philosophies of men and a lot of dangerous paths that lead to driving God and love out of our lives. And so that's where our mistake was. I don't want to get into that really too much right now. I need you to know, Jacob, that many of the stories I've told you today, and many that I will not tell you until you are brave enough to search me out in person, I have kept secret over many years, while your dad has filled your head with God who knows what about me and lies about me. I don't know. I just pray to God that you'll find out the truth someday. Not because I want to hurt your dad, but because I think it's fair that you and your brothers know the truth about the relationship of your dad and me and who we are. Because you may be half German, but you are also half English and well, your grandmother and grandfather were German and Hungarian, and I am English and Dutch. So you are half American, English, and Dutch. I know you're proud of your German background, but don't forget about your English background also. And so what I was going to say was, I've kept a lot of secrets over many years while I've had to protect you and your brothers, and also God had me forget, I think, a lot of stuff too that had happened over the years, so that you guys wouldn't hear a lot of these stories until you're older and able to understand them and process them. It also eased the separation pain that I experienced while you and your brothers were gone, and God was working on me and bring me back to God. Also, I had and have had such a naive and positive view on life, and I portray that on others, that it wasn't until recently, when I had a chance to breathe without being controlled of your dad over all these many years, that I've been able to learn about dangerous and destructive personalities and learn a lot more about who your dad, Baron, is. And learn who I can trust and who I can't trust. And learn to be a loyal and faithful wife to Rudy. And let Rudy and Baron discuss manly things and not get involved. And I want you to know, though, that through all this, the best way to handle these twists and turns in life, which are most unexpected, is to forgive and have an open heart and an open mind. This way we can come to understand the whys others do what they do and what they have done, and we may or may not have understood in our youth or even in our adult lives. Maybe we don't understand why others do things. I hope you have continued to have that tender heart that you've always had since I've known you. Because I know that Andrew, Austin, and Jordan have let bitterness and hatred into their hearts, and they, Austin actually even once said, yeah, we have love for everybody, Mom, just not for you. And it was like, wow, how can you have love in your heart if you have hatred for your own mother? It doesn't exist. You have to have love in your heart for all people, even your mother, and that's done by forgiveness. By the way, I understand that you may have graduated this May, since this would have been your senior year. Sadly, I did not know where you were going to high school, so I couldn't celebrate it with you, even if you had turned 18 early. But I did the other day find out that you did go to Monarch High School. For the longest time, I wasn't sure if you went to Mooseheart or Boulder. But I did see your swimming scores online, and so I finally just learned a few days ago that you actually went to Monarch High School. So that was exciting. My lawyer in Colorado told me that others around in town there in Louisville had not seen you around lately. So I thought maybe you were sent to Mooseheart like your brother Jordan. And if you remember, I don't know if you know the story, but like a couple years ago, a year and a half ago, I went to Illinois, University of Illinois, to reach out to Jordan. And I was trying to keep it private, but he wanted nothing to do with me, and he attacked me with a false accusation, and I never believed that he would ever stoop that low to do something like that. But I guess we learn the hard way sometimes. I also wanted you to know that Austin told me when I saw him in Colorado in 2009 when he was in college that you had had an appendix surgery a few years back. That made me cry. It shocked me. I couldn't believe that other people had not had the decency to tell me that this had happened to you. And I felt just terrible. Because as a mother, when you can't do anything to see your kids and then you find out this stuff, you go crazy. But I did learn that I can pray for your happiness and that the spirit world is real, just like bacteria and viruses are unseen and they exist. And 100 years ago, 200 years ago, they didn't believe that it exists, and they found now that it does. Well, same thing with the spiritual world around us. There are dark entities, dark energy, positive and beautiful light energy that you can attract. And I pray that you will always stay towards love and not have a bitter heart. I can pray for your success. I can send angels and ask God's spirits to guide you in life and protect you. And I can do more through this unseen spiritual world than I could have ever done for you physically. So I learned that and I accepted that, and I've come to understand it and know it to the point where I am so grateful that I'm able to use that instead of relying on the physical world. I want you to know that your brother is real. Michael is real, and that he's in the spirit world and he's watching over you, and that other entities do exist and they do watch over you and they protect you. I wanted to wish you a happy 18th birthday today, just like I've done every single birthday that you've had. I know you don't know this, but I have on every single birthday over the many years that we haven't had contact. But finally I'm able to do it somewhat public. Yay! Happy 18th birthday! I've sent a lot of cards and cards in a box. I've saved in my net. I've sent into the box a lot of birthday cards and letters and well wishes for every holiday for you in your own little box. It's saved here at home for you, and your brothers and you each have one. And so that throughout the years, when you're able to finally look that over, you'll see that every day and every holiday I thought of you and I loved you and I missed you. I'll save it here for you for when I do see you, but please come and ask for it when you're ready. I remember someone telling me that they thought you were going to Boulder High School, so I did find a video of Boulder High School graduation, and Alex and I thought it was you on the Boulder High School graduation video on YouTube, and so we were jumping up and down and screaming and, yay, we found Jacob! We were so excited, but then we learned that you went to Monarch High School, so we don't think it's you. So, but anyway, I just wanted you to know that we were really excited a couple days ago about finding that. If you ever want to see what Alex and I are doing, I have my own personal website called lisahatchacosta.com, and you just type that in and up will pop a website that I have made for you and your brothers that I dedicated. I've spent years and years on it because it takes a long time to download all those photos, and I've actually scanned a lot of stuff from your baby box and your brother's baby boxes and put those on your page, because there's a page for each of you guys with baby pictures and childhood pictures and things that I can find. And I still have a lot more that I can add, or you can come here and see them with me if you'd like. Anyway, I just want you to have a fantastic birthday and know that I'll be thinking of you all day today on your birthday. Yes, all day. And by the way, it also is Grandpa Acosta's birthday. That's Rudy's dad, and his birthday's on the same day. And he's 70 years older than you, so he would have been 88, but he died a few years ago. But that's his same birthday, and today's the 21st would be the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. So you must love the summer. If you ever need to contact me and you can't find me, call Gramps' house there in Joseph, Utah, and he'll know where to find me, okay? He lives in Joseph, Utah. I don't know if you know where Joseph, Utah is. If you're ever near there and you want to see me, I will drive like a crazy eagle over to Grandpa's house immediately. If you're ever there and you want to see me, I will meet you there. He lives right off of the 70 freeway, and the 70 freeway is right near your house there in Louisville. Actually, you go down to Denver, and in Denver there's the I-70, and on the I-70 you just go west, and once you're in Utah you pass Richfield, and 20 minutes later you'll see Joseph. Don't blink. And he's off of the freeway 1 block. So there's where Grandpa Hatch lives. So if you ever want to see me, I'll meet you there, and no problem. I would love to see you. Grandpa goes swimming in town every day in the morning at the community pool. He's a great swimmer. I heard that you're a great swimmer, so I saw your swimming scores online. So I love to swim too. I took swimming lessons when I was young, and I was really good at it. I bet you're a great swimmer right now, and I bet you love the water. Anyway, remember when I gave you a birthday swimming party at your 9th birthday? Of course, the swimming pool was closed, so we ended up having a water balloon party for you, but you love water, so. And every time I see that Lakeside Entertainment company, that they put a movie on a DVD player, and I see a little boy jumping off a pier into the water, both Rudy and I say to each other, look, that looks just like Jacob jumping off the pier into the water, doesn't it? And so we laugh, and so we think of you a lot. Oh, you know, Jacob, there's just stories I could go on and tell you about. Some things I can't tell you because I'm still trying to protect Alexander. I would love to share him with others, like your dad, but your dad got himself into some trouble legally, so that's not going to happen, and we can't trust him because he hasn't been able to share, and he hasn't been able to keep the law and do the right things, which is fair for everybody, so that other people don't get hurt. So, but maybe in the future he can be a better person. Let's pray that that will happen. So, and so I have a lot of other stories I could tell you, but I'll tell them to you later. I don't have a chance right now to actually tell you all the great stories, and some really funny stories too about my life while we were apart, and how much I fought to find out even just the smallest things about you guys. There's just a lot that you would love to hear and that you will laugh about. Just know that I have forgiven your dad and Terry. Alienating a mother from her children is one of the most horrible, horrible, wretched things that another human being can do to a mother. And you may never know what that feels like because of that you're a man and that you won't go through childbirth. But just know that it's a horrible thing, and that even though I have suffered greatly, I have forgiven your dad and Terry, because love in my heart is what I'm after, and it's what I want to keep in my heart. And even though I miss you and I cry sometimes, I also know that I'm to be happy and be joyful and to love and live life so that you know that I'm happy. In the meantime, I'm going to try to find more childhood videos of you and your brothers and try to post them online when I can. I'm not that great at it, and I sometimes don't have the time. You also have to come here and see them yourself. And I hope you agree with me that a child should never have to choose one parent over the other, and that he should have a loving relationship with both of his parents, as long as both parents are cooperating and co-parenting and being keeping the law and being good. So until we meet again, Jacob, Christian Jacob Holler. I don't know if you like to go by Christian now or Christian Jacob, but did you know that when you were born, your dad and I had decided to wait a few days after you were born to decide what to name you? And so I thought, you know, I told Barron, let's wait till he's born so we can look at him and see if he is a Christian or another name, because both your dad and I had come up with Christian, and we both liked it. think I had told him I liked the name Christian, but that we would decide when you were born what you look like. And at that time that you were born, like I said, I was so overjoyed and had so much gratitude in my heart that you had come into my arms and our lives, that I prayed to God and I said, dear God, I don't want to just name Christian our boy and any name off the top of our heads. And I asked God for your name, so that I said in a prayer, God, give me the name that you would like us to call our son, that he would be most responsive to, that he would feel in his heart and would answer to. And we'd prayed for a couple days and we couldn't come up with a name. We liked the name Christian, but I wanted an answer from God. And so sure enough, the midwife came over and I had been singing in my mind a little tune all morning long. I, Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, that's my name too. And whenever I go out, the people always shout, there goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. Na, 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 na. That song was in my mind all morning long. And so it was so funny that I didn't recognize that that was coming from God, because sure enough, our midwife came over a few hours later and she said, you know, I've been praying a lot about your son's name, because you guys said that you really wanted to ask God what his name would be. And she said, I got a strong impression that his name should be Jacob. And I was listening in the other room and I went, oh my gosh, that's why I've been having that song going through my head. So we decided to call you Jacob, but your dad really liked the name Christian, so he said, can we call him Christian Jacob? And I said, yeah, that would be great, but can we please call him Jacob? And he said, yeah, let's just call him Jacob, but his name would be Christian Jacob. So that's how your name came about. And so I love both of your names. So if you use Christian or if you use Jacob, that's great. But just know that Jacob is a very sacred, special, godly name that I later found out meant to supplant. I didn't even know that until afterwards, that the name Jacob meant to replace. Because in scriptures, it means to, it was a story about how Jacob had replaced his brother's place. And so that's exactly what happened. I thought that was very interesting how that turned out. What a coincidence it was that that name had come to us spiritually about you. And like I said, it was a wonderful birth in Utah. And Utah's a wonderful place. Gramps still lives there, and I hope that you visit there often. We're thinking of going to the Manti pageant this year. That's a wonderful thing there in central Utah. That's a lot of fun. I think Rudy and Alex would love to see that play. It's just spectacular and fabulous. It's an outside play there in Manti, where you were born. I know your dad doesn't let you go to church or be Mormon, but I just want you to know, even though I'm not a religious nut and I'm not a Jesus freak, I'm very spiritual, but I do have a great appreciation for the Mormon Church and the LDS Church and the great teachings and just the kind, powerful, loving people that are there and that can be found there quite often. Some are not, but a lot of them are. And you were baptized into the Mormon Church, so you do have membership in that church if you ever want to go. But like I said, I'm not a big religious fanatic either, but I do know that there's a lot of godly people, a lot of loving, heartfelt, powerful people in the Mormon Church that can be found there in their wards and their chapels. So I recommend that to my children, to find truth and a lot of love in the Mormon people. Even though Austin makes fun of them, it's okay. Some of the most hated people and most made fun of things in life end up having the most truth or enlightenment and light and knowledge. So just keep that in mind. And anyway, I love you very much. Happy birthday again. Happy 18th birthday. Thank you for finding me here. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for searching it out. And please know and then remember that I am always just a simple phone call away. I'm getting a new cell phone, so I'm not going to have my cell phone number out there for a little bit. But if you need to get a hold of me, call Gramps. They're in Joseph, Utah, and he'll know where to find me. And just know that I'm only a few hours away from you, literally in real life. If you go down the I-70, you can go to Gramps' house, and I will be there for you. I love you forever, and I miss you so much. I pray to God, and I pray that you have the desire in your heart to be friends and to have a good relationship, and that we can pick up where we left off, is my prayer. Love your mom, your one and only physical earthly mother. Thank you, Jacob, for having a good heart and for keeping that love and that tenderness in your heart, even at this age. It's tough through life to keep love in your heart, but if anybody can do it, you can. So I believe in you. Have a wonderful day, and if you're so inspired, give me a phone call, because legally now we can contact each other. Yay! And Jacob, Alex would love to hear from you too. He loves you very much. You are his favorite brother, and he absolutely adores how you made grilled cheese sandwiches with seasoning and spices, and made those grilled cheese sandwiches just fabulous. So he really has a great love for you, and he misses you too. So give him a call also. And I love you, and if you were here, I would hug you super tight. Bye.